Now, there was an earthquake today, really, that should tell our leaders to wake up. Our economy is about to get run over, and maybe our freedoms too. Today, the world's most valuable company, DaVita, US base, lost $1 trillion of value. 1 trillion Australian. Never seen before a loss that massive. 3 times the worth of our BHP. And that's still just 17% of Invita's worth. Now, you wonder what could make a company be worth that much and why did it get such a record hiding? And that's where you start crying for our country. I mean, here is our government throwing billions at trying to make stupid solar panels. It's like it's still in the Stone Age, trying to make us use unreliable wind and solar. But Invita, that is the real future. It is working on artificial intelligence, making semiconductor chips to help get computers to do our thinking for us. And the reason it lost that fortune is because, surprise, China is trying to do the same thing. And one of its companies, DeepSeek, has announced its chatbot was just as good as any the Americans make, but much cheaper, using a lot fewer of those expensive Invita chips. Now, this battle is absolutely massive. I showed you last week Donald Trump with 3 tech billionaires announcing they were investing $500 billion, with a B, US, in AI infrastructure, in a project called Stargate. But this Chinese company, DeepSeek, said it developed its AI model with just $6 million. I know that's not quite apples for apples, $6 million though. And that's why Invita shares tanked, that record tanking. Now, yes, people like Elon Musk are now saying, well, the Chinese are lying about all that, but I want to focus on 2 things, regardless, that should scare you here, should scare Australia. Here are America and China in a titanic wrestle to dominate the technology of the future, not solar panels. You know, something, AI, that's going to revolutionise industry, health, the technology right throughout your life, from cars to kettles. It's worth trillions. Now here, like I say, our government's faffing around with solar panels. You take the Prime Minister last Thursday, when he was asked about Trump unveiling that Stargate AI project. Now, Trump said he made that possible by getting rid of the global warming restrictions that would, so he could get more of that massive amount of reliable electricity that AI needs. But to Albanese, our global warming restrictions suddenly weren't a handicap, but an attraction.
The other things that these data centres will look for, because they're global industries, is their carbon footprint. So I'll be looking for opportunities for green energy in particular. And that is a significant advantage that we have. That's why the work that Chris Bowen is leading is so important for Australia.
Dear God. Listen, that AI industry is nothing without reliable power, because it eats it like an entire city. And if you do want to go green, that has to mean nuclear power. And that's why Google is actually trying to get its own nuclear power generators, nuclear power that Albanese insists must be banned. But there is a second problem here for us, a massive security risk. Do you think China cares anything whether its AI data centres go green? No, it just wants world domination, which means getting those facilities the cheapest and most reliable power there is. And if the West is stupid enough to want to go green, expensive green power instead, that just helps China win this race for AI, which also means letting China shape the world, shape the way that we see the world and how we design for it. Remember, this is communist China. Journalists have already asked this Chinese DeepSeek questions like, tell me about how China locks up Muslim Uyghurs, or tell us the big criticisms of the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, or tell us about Chinese interference in Australian politics, or tell us how Chinese soldiers massacred students at the Tiananmen Square protest, or even tell us who the Taiwan president is. These are all genuine questions, and this is the answer that DeepSeek gives each time. Sorry, that's beyond my current scope. Let's talk about something else. Now, this is far more dangerous than China just stopping you from learning things its dictator doesn't want you to know. What if you actually wanted to use DeepSeek to help invent missile defenses against Chinese missiles, defenses against Chinese hacking? Would it even let you? Could China even use DeepSeek to turn minds and machines against the West and its values? Elon Musk actually raised a brilliant example late last year. He wasn't talking about China, of course, but an example of how an AI, artificial intelligence, that was, say, badly brought up, badly educated, badly trained, could be a huge menace to us all.
My concern about a lot of the AIs that are being developed are that they're trained to lie, you know, and in some cases with potentially disastrous consequences. I mean, when Google Gemini came out, you know, people asked, like, which is worse, misgendering Caitlyn Jenner or global thermonuclear war? And it said misgendering Caitlyn Jenner. I'm like, that's a problem, guys, because if this AI becomes super powerful, it could decide that the best way to avoid misgendering is to kill all humans, which makes the probability of misgendering zero. So it's very important to have AI be maximally truthful and curious and love humanity.
We must have an AI, he says, that is curious, honest, and loves humanity. Does that sound like an AI that the Chinese communist dictatorship would build? You see why it's so critical for the West to win the battle to develop and control artificial intelligence? And how the global warming fantasy that makes electricity so expensive, so unreliable, is such a threat to our future and our freedom?